Problem is, it's not like we're going into every game and it's just, okay, Cloud9 hasn't beat 5 minutes in every single time. That last game, we saw Sentinels feeling good. We saw them on Soul Point.
They were acing
before
the test.
20-minute mark. They were doing great. And then it fell apart when they over-invaded the enemy jungle. They weren't synced up in the way that they were using their semi-global ultimates and their playmaking tools, C9 counter punches. And then when they have the chance to maybe restabilize and get their footing again, the Orianna Ball of Destruction steals away the Dragon Soul, and it's all curtains from there.
That is a hard one to stabilize from and keep everybody calm, but you got to move on. So every game is a new game. Golden Glue, coach them in here. Must-win games now for Sentinels, of course, with the best of 3, and into the Fearless Draft we go.
All right.
Looks like we are going to put a little bit more pressure on with the triple flex Anivia, very popular top lane, mid lane, or support role.
Yeah, I saw a guy in Twitch chat asking earlier if you could play it in jungle, and I told him, yeah, if you want if you want an involuntary 2-week break from the game to focus on something else, sure. But I feel like your teammates won't be too happy with that.
Yeah, I would rather put the Anivia into AD carry first, even before going into jungles.
Yeah, bot lane mages, that's been in the meta before.
You could pitch me on a 4-way flexible for this champion, but one of the ways is not going to be jungle.
In the jungle, yeah, I don't think so. So I'm sorry, guy in the Twitch chat, that's probably not going to happen. But over on the other side, let's go ahead and catch up with our bands before anything. Azir, Karma, Rumble, Varus, Nocturne, Ziggs. And over on the C9 side, they've responded to the Anivia with just a strong bot lane duo, Corki Nami.
Yep. Even with the Nami nerfs, still huge, powerful bottom lane here. Big burst damage available with the Corki Nami. And they're going to complement this Anivia with the Caitlyn. I'm going to assume now that it is bot lane Anivia.
Okay.
And we're going to get the Anivia Caitlyn combo. That is a really good one for sieging. Very good poke damage here. Very good control. You can harass enemies under tower so effectively. It's extremely annoying with both the Anivia wall, the Caitlyn traps. Definitely a lot of danger there, especially because the stun lasts so long. You can try and trap wall too, but the Cassio answer into the Ryze here. Cassio, of course, did get some little buffs herself, so got a little bit more competitive, but pretty much everybody still prefers the Ryze, and does give you, realm warp plays on top of the large damage with actualizer as well as split pushing potential. So just more options there.
Well, we do have kind of the rare situation where the first half of the draft doesn't contain a jungler for either side so far. Unless, of course, the Anivia does actually end up being a flex pick and the guy in chat is smarter than both of us. But now we're going to see some jungle focus in the second half of the bans because of that. Vi will be banned away by Sentinels. Lee Sin being banned out by C9. So getting rid of some of these potential early gankers, early playmakers.
So we've got, still have some good AD duelists like Xin and Wukong that are available. Cloud9 actually decided to ban the carry of the Flex Ambessa instead.
Okay.
But, if you want to go with the Team Fight 4, Wukong is very powerful. Xin, of course, really good for duelist options. And honestly, even if those get banned also, Aatrox, I feel like Jungle Pool is so deep right now. With all of the top laners that they have made junglers on top as well. So I feel like there's still a lot of options. Even Jace, you can still jungle Jace, but that's probably a top lane ban themselves.
It's like if you're not going to a game 5 in Fearless, it's kind of hard to get that jungle pool really whittled down, and can't really go to game 5 in a best of 3. So who does C9 want as this 4th pick? We're going to actually go with the Renekton, lock that in for Thanatos.
They could go a Skarner or something if they want the more tank, because they have a lot of damage. They have pretty good damage already. So they could go with the Wukong or Xin we were talking about, but we could also see Skarner, and we even did have a Sejuani from Blaber, although he got pretty heavily counter jungled in that game by Inspired's Jarvan. But looks like HamBak's going to be able to get his Skarner again. I just love the HamBak plus Skarner combination.
He's good at Skarner.
Yeah, and their owner of his Sentinels, Rob Moore. We even had the little fan interview at the beginning of the opening weekend. He's like, I love it. It's my favorite champion when HamBak gets Skarner, and then he popped off that day on the champion as well. So very cool to always see him on it. And I do think Skarner right now is underrated, Flowers. You know,
I like to hear that.
I know you don't. You like the original flavor, but this iteration of rework right now is in a good state again. At least you know, very decent win rate in solo queue and very, very tanky. So we ended up getting both the tanks that we're talking about there. It's the Sejuani with the Renekton is the obvious synergy there for your quickly stacking stuns.
And I'm glad to see extra just raw engage power on C9 with this last pick, considering the main thing before locking that in was Nami wave.
And the other thing too about you know, getting your engage and getting your synergy with Renekton, the biggest counter to Zaahen is burst damage, and you can't stack your passive up if you're stunned with Ruthless Predator and whatever Sejuani's.
Just kill him before he's
whatever
full of blood,
Sejuani's passive.
and you don't have to kill him twice. That's all you have to do.
So
it's that simple.
CC chains, very effective in bursting this champ down before he can actually stack up the passive and get the revive.
So the number one thing I'm looking at here for Sentinels is I think that the way that they were playing the early game last time around was perfectly fine. They got pressure early. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize on the flashes that they forced on both of the Cloud9 carries, but still, they had the pressure to force those flashes. The lanes were going all right. They were at a point where they had an advantage in the mid game, but then once it comes time for the 5v5s, that's when the warning lights should start going off. That's when the sirens are flaring, because that's when it feels like Sentinels always makes their fumbles.
And honestly, I hope that it is a bot side focus for HamBak Skarner, because if you can get a lead for your Caitlyn Anivia and make sure they get their siege, they get to harass enemies under tower, you just continually build up this lead in chunking them down, getting turret plays, getting extra pressure. And if you want to get to a game state where mid-game you have a very strong and healthy, you know, Anivia Caitlyn lane and a good condition Ryze for putting the Ryze into the side lanes, because you can like rotate the Caitlyn Anivia to siege over mid if they had success in bottom lane, and put Ryze in the side lane, and you get a lot of options there. So you know what, just go with the tried and true, put impact on weak side, and you know, play Skarner through the bot side triangle. You can do ganks towards mid, you can do ganks towards bottom side, as they do trade pretty heavily down here. Anivias are usually very aggressive in it, you know, with the electrocute burst damage always looking good and always threatening some good CC combos with the stun and the Caitlyn follow.
So checking on our junglers, they are both starting on their top quadrants, pathing towards the bottom lane. So maybe we will get to see some early bottom side action in this one between those 2v2s. See if HamBak can get involved and guarantee that Caitlyn and Anivia can control that pressure that you're talking about. Up there in top lane, we mentioned in game number 1 how Thanatos has, well, he had a much better week 1 performance than Impact did here in Split 2, here in Spring, and how he's also just gotten the better of Impact so many times. But now in mid lane, HamBak's making a visit to APPA here early. This is a very similar play to what we saw in game number 1, forcing out the flash. But no, it's APPA who nearly gets the solo kill back into DARKWINGS. Okay, we got lots of summoner spin here in mid this time.
They just buffed Cassio's mana, and I want to go now. I want to check. Did he literally have? He didn't have 40 mana for the last Twin Fang. He flashed.
Okay.
He flashed. He wanted to flash auto and Twin Fang, and it would have killed. But he had 27 mana instead of 40.
Oh man,
so close.
So close.
But still, he 1v2s Flowers, and he almost gets a kill. He also showcased the power of Cassiopeia Miasma, and just putting that down on Skarner. If Skarner tries to come gank you, just throw that down.
Not a happy time.
And put a stop to him.
Zven forced to use the barrier down here. You kind of just saw the interaction that you were talking about in draft. Anivia builds the wall with Crystallize. Caitlyn throws a trap down right next to it. And if you're up against a champion that doesn't have mobility, or maybe their mobility has already been used, it can be very difficult to path around that, especially because if Anivia builds the wall right behind you, I learned this from watching Froggen streams back in the day.
Yeah.
She builds it right behind you after you've already clicked to move backwards. Your character will auto path around the closest side to it. So if Caitlyn places the trap there, if the person's not paying enough attention, they'll just walk right into the cupcake.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you, Froggen.
Plus, you can always just do, you know, like Anivia Q stuns into Peacemakers. You know, if you're coordinated and you know it's going to land, you think it's going to land. Crab fight, though.
All right, one of my favorite moments in jungle. Top side, Thanatos with again, just total control over this 1v1. Nice stun there from Blaber. This is a problem for Sentinels. That's such an easy first blood in the 2v2 there for APPA and Blaber. The miasma that you already mentioned before just makes it so there's nowhere for HamBak to go.
Yeah, we got a little cutaway to the top action, so we didn't see how they exactly got into their little scuffle.
Yeah.
And fully, but we saw the results of that scuffle, Flowers, and if you lose a early game crab fight to Blaber, I think he gets like Super Saiyan powers from it, you know, it like turbo powers him up. So it's a double crab in the end for them. And really good flash from Blaber. He knows, you know, I just combo you. He knows, okay, if I get my Q flash W, I can fully stack the stun. We didn't hear that, but maybe the audience heard the check-in. But anyways, good identification here from Blaber on the window to go, because he stacks up a couple of stacks of his passive.
Wait, hold on. They aren't even done yet. HamBak wants to try to get something back in mid lane yet again. This time, APPA, it's not the miasma that he slams the brakes on it with. It's the petrifying gaze. It's so difficult for Skarner to do anything to this champion.
Yeah, man, it is looking all Cloud9 all day here, Flowers, with the mid jungle so far. Let's see, anything for HamBak left? Just farm jungle, farm up his Krugs. Thanatos is going to keep some vision, and you just kind of have to sacrifice objectives now at this point.
Feels bad.
Yeah, Skarner's kind of limping around.
But no, I totally agree with what you said earlier. Blaber was bloodthirsty. He makes the call to engage. Miasma right on top of Skarner. You can't E out. You can't flash out. You're just a big, dead, sad scorpion.
Yeah. And Flowers is also a little dead and sad inside because
I've been a big, dead, sad scorp many times against Cassiopeia. It is a rite of passage.
Yeah, you can relate.
Yes, I've walked a mile in those arachnid shoes. But now,
and she, you know, Cassio also gets shoes now too. So
yeah, I actually saw like the top post on the Reddit thread today was about Cassiopeia players, please buy your shoes. None of you guys read the patch notes, and all the Cassiopeias are slow now. So
what rating is that in? That is hilarious, if true.
Especially because it's your quest, right? Like, you don't have shoes. Your quest is mostly wasted.
Yeah.
So yeah, PSA, if you're playing Cassio, you can buy your shoes again. Just put them on your tail. It's fine. As huhi and Rahel.
Both of them?
Just.
How does that work, Flowers?
It's just you gotta tie the laces together in one big super boot.
Oh, okay. And then you kind of like swing them around. You tie them around in a knot over the tail.
Yeah, it's like you're a rattlesnake with shoes.
Oh, wow, fashionable.
Yeah,
okay.
rattle shoes.
Cool, rattle
shoes.
That's
what they call her, is old rattle shoes. But let's check in on the bottom lane here, as we did kind of set the expectation early that we wanted huhi and Rahel to be able to control this 2v2. That's what you draft a Caitlyn lane for. You need pressure, you need push. Clearly they have an advantage so far, about 2 waves. They farmed the first 2 plates. Is this on pace for what we wanted to see?
It is. It looks good for the bottom lane. I'm just a little concerned about the mid jungle, as bottom lane's getting a little heavy.
Yeah, Zven's going to go ahead and use the barrier to trade with the Caitlyn ulti there, but now he's got to be careful. No, huhi takes him down. He tried to fly over the wall to get enough distance with the Glacial Storm plus the last auto in the air, but huhi now finds himself in a spot where you can't really get away, and unfortunately, he's also going to lose the passive for this one. It always feels the worst when you have a resurrection passive champion and you just kind of die and then wait 3 more seconds to die again in the same spot, but at least they managed to get that 1 kill on Zven, get Sentinels on the board.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really good. Caitlyn and Anivia here. Zven kind of underestimated the damage a little bit in trying to split them apart and force the kill. And so they do get their 2v2 win. They continue their pressure. Like, that's everything that is good for Sentinels, is their bottom lane. Everything else has not been as good. The top side is just, you know, Thanatos getting his lead versus Impact, and then mid lane.
Oh man, and APPA's timing on the petrifying gaze even catches DARKWINGS on the stun as he goes to turn, so he has to commit the flash and the ghost. He'll stay alive, but he lost so much of his HP, he's in dire straits to stick around and really make anything happen on the map.
Yeah, does have to flash and ghost, so both summoner spells here for DARKWINGS. So even though Cloud9 don't get the kill, very valuable allocation of resources there. Again, I guess, all Sentinels fans, just pull up a stream where you can just watch bot lane only. You know what? If we had like Pro View or something still, and Sentinels fan could just tune into bot lane.
Just bot lane Sentinels game.
Bot lane view.
Well, HamBak's coming down here into that bot lane right now to see if they can get that payoff. Realm Warp also bringing in even more reinforcements. Ishtal's impact point blank means Zven cannot escape on that one, flash or no. He's not even going to spend the summoner spell to try. So Sentinels now ties the game back up.
Yeah. Realm Warp, DARKWINGS doesn't get to do a whole lot, but the bot lane view is looking good. So yeah, he did get some FaceTime.
He got to be on the cool show.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you just show up to say, put me in the photo.
Yeah, put me in, coach. HamBak as well, the Skarner getting some credit now, so being able to get the kill under tower is going to be nice to get tanky here, and we'll see the ramifications of this because overall, this bot lane is making up for the rest of the map. So it's the first dragon to Cloud9 and the Grubs. Of course, the objectives are fully in their favor.
Yeah.
But we'll see how much Rahel and huhi can carry.
Well, the only other gold lead, the individual lead that's comparable to Rahel, is up there in topside. Yet again, it's kind of what we've been talking about with the story of these two. Thanatos versus Impact, I think in most people's minds, Thanatos is probably the strongest laning top laner in the LCS. Impact has been on more of a downswing recently, and when you have Renekton versus Zaahen, this isn't some classic counter matchup or one that you can just easily step back as Zaahen and avoid everything. Thanatos is going to have a great time. He's up 3 waves and change in farm. He's feeling great. Oh, it's 4 now. Okay, even more than I thought.
Yeah, Thanatos on his Renekton, and he's also got his squad here, 4 people.
Oh boy, and remember what we said back in draft. The weakness of Zaahen is if he just gets bursted down before he can stack his passive, and burst down he shall be. The kill even goes over to Thanatos. So this 1v1 is about to become nightmarish for Impact.
A lot of teams have actually started doing this play where they do their lane swap in their bot lane and they time it with jungle and go for the dive play, and it is very successful for them. The tower still goes to Sentinels because of the previous work that their bot lane had already been able to do on the bot lane tower. So Rahel and huhi still just holding up the world for Sentinels.
Yeah. They're going to need the chiropractor after this one. The Caitlyn and the Anivia getting the work done. 1,500 gold lead individually for Rahel. He's up even more farm over Zven than Thanatos is over Impact. Zven will at least grab the money for knocking down that tier 1 turret up there in the top side. Gold still just about dead even between the 2 squads as that second Drake of the game will go over to Sentinels. That's their first neutral objective they've secured so far in this one. 3 minutes until the next neutral objective will spawn with that Rift Herald. And that's kind of the critical mass that I talk about for Sentinels. It's around the Rift Herald spawn timer when you get that first big 4v4, 5v5 type of fight that we usually see things. That's when it's time to get in the car.
All right, well, they're getting in the car again. Remember the last game, they did invade this topside jungle and kind of crashed, but second time's the charm, Flowers.
Okay, you can just take the test again the next day.
Exactly.
Get a new car. Just get a new car.
Oh my Got to buy a brand new car so they don't know you crashed the last one.
No, you're using the driving exam place's car. They're going to give you the old lousy one now that barely runs, but it's still a new car.
But back on the game plan for Sentinels, this was it that we were talking about. Your bot lane, make sure your Caitlyn and your Anivia can siege effectively. They actually didn't need a lot of help. They just did that themselves.
Yeah.
And they got a little, a Skarner gank as well, but they did that effectively. So Sentinels, again, came into this game with a good game plan. They executed for the early game, at least for their bottom side. They would have liked a little bit, more success elsewhere, but it wasn't a huge hindrance, right? DARKWINGS still farming fine, fairly decently, so should be okay to scale until later. Okay. And this Scromp. Who you betting on?
Blaber, he's got the better smite.
Boom.
No, HamBak takes it. Wowee. Yeah, Blaber does have his...
Upgraded, yeah.
Yeah, his smite is all the way upgraded.
Let me see.
HamBak still has one of the snackies left on his jungle item to feed the pet before it'll fully evolve. So I was expecting that to actually go pretty well.
I'm pretty sure Blaber smited huhi, the Anivia there.
Oh.
So the target selection means more than the upgrade of your
Well,
smite.
yeah, if you don't smite the frog, you can't get it. That's, I feel, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair. I was expecting him to smite it. My bet was misinformed.
Yeah, the bird, he smoked the bird.
All right, so still Gromp
Not the
control.
frog.
Gromp control for HamBak. He keeps his frog. He is almost down a level, though. Like, Blaber is about to tick over to level 10, which, luckily, at least for Sentinels, is not the level 11 second point in your ulti type of power spike. We do have only 45 seconds until that Rift Herald spawns, so HamBak is up here in the top side. He knows Blaber wants to get that Crabber, and he wants to stop it. Smite fight, though. It's going to be even at least this time, but they might not even get the chance here for HamBak, who has to flash over the wall. He had to flash right then because the miasma was coming out as he pressed the keys, so if you don't press it right there, you're stuck on the miasma. You can get chain CC'd down. Impact trying to chase after Thanatos now because he's got backup coming in. That bot lane duo joining up with Impact to relieve some of this pressure here in the top side 1v1 that has rotated down to bottom lane. They'll even give the money over to Rahel and further accelerate this Caitlyn.
Okay, yeah, this Caitlyn is going to be a problem. Pretty fun, too, when you have the Storm Razor early for the extra move speed to, you know, move around and try and get some of these extra kills, these plays as well. A little bit more mobility for him. Rift Herald started up here for Cloud9. Do Sentinels want to do like a trap play here? I mean, Ryze has Realm Warp.
Well, right now, it's HamBak just being caught again. It's the miasma versus Skarner. There's just no way to get away from it. Yeah, he's got health, but the only item, he's got Heartsteel, and he's got a Giant's Belt. It's nothing but HP.
This top river has been like the Bermuda Triangle for Sentinels. Every time HamBak goes up there, he either dies or loses his flash and has to run away from either the crab or the Herald.
Skarner goes in, nothing comes out. Can't explain that.
True.
Can't explain that. Don't know how.
It's funny, too, because he just went over there by the crab, and Blaber was like, fine, I'll stop doing my crab, and I'll attack you, Scorpion, and they got the flash. And so now the flashless Skarner comes over to say, hey, stop doing that, Herald.
Why would we listen to you?
Okay, fine. Well, now you don't have flash. Now you're dead. Okay.
Yep. Feels bad,
regardless, man. Rahel is trying to carry, man.
Yeah.
Focus up.
We got to let Rahel do the work, Sentinels. If we're trying to take it to game 3, we've got to let Rahel do the work. Play around Rahel is the name of the game. Working towards that second fully completed item. Still has the over 1,000 gold individual advantage versus Zven's Corki, who's still got quite a ways to go stacking his tier, building that to where that can fully evolve once he completes the Manamune into the Muramana. Checking in on everybody else, APPA and DARKWINGS are both stacking their Rod of Ages. However, APPA is significantly further ahead on that one, about 4.5, 5 stacks further than DARKWINGS is. So everybody's scaling. As Thanatos decides scaling time is over, fighting time is now. Pops the Dominus, forces Grim Deliverance in response. Wants to continue trading here. Impact just trying to buy a little bit more time, but time favors the man with the team. And it's Blaber showing up first. Should just be able to get the stun, set this up, and Thanatos takes the kill yet again.
Yeah, that was nicely done. He spaced him to let the passive wear out as well. Nicely done there from Thanatos, kind of toying with him at the end. Passive drops back down, go back in, kill off that Zaahen, and Rift Herald down top lane.
Oh boy, and HamBak is once again feeling the Blaber pressure. Point blank Glacial Prison, immediate full send on the follow-up, and every time Skarner dies, his health bar doesn't say HamBak, it says grounded. The miasma is there every single kill, and it's why he never gets away from these.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
It doesn't feel good. Big dead Sat Scorp. I told you.
Yeah,
That's the Cassiopeia matchup, man.
You did. You know, he's got 20 stacks on his Heartsteel to do his name as well. That also don't feel good.
No,
bud.
that's
that don't feel good, brother.
That's one
Skarner,
block.
look, Skarner. I think this guy's it. Yeah. I can cancel Z. Guys.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Blaber. I think that was a play where he was not where he needed to be, and the Cloud9 got the nice punish off of it. So now it's Blaber up 1,500 gold. It's Thanatos up almost 2K, and Rahel's individual gold lead, Kobe, is disappearing.
Rahel's done nothing wrong, and now it's the gold is just falling between his fingers. You know, Infinity Edge, he wants to finish, but here we go, maybe.
Ooh, Glacial Prison. immediately lands onto the Caitlyn, and immediately the cleanse is the response. But now that means we don't have that same safety. And when I'm looking around here, you've got huhi building the Rod of Ages on Anivia too. That means that there's no first item Mikhails like we saw from Vulcan's Bard in the previous game. So now all targets are on Rahel. You hit him with a CC, he's done.
Yeah, now he's got no cleanse. Only the flash to rely on. Only the flash and his own gun.
Well, I hope that gun is polished and shiny and locked and loaded and ready to go, because he's going to have to do so much work to give them a chance. And Zven even fires off the rocket there just for a little bit more.
Man, I can't buy my IE now. I wanted to go.
Yeah.
He wanted to go back and buy his Infinity Edge.
That's a big purchase. That's really important. Now they're going to full stand it. There's your flash for the Ruthless Predator. Rahel tries to flash away, but it's just like I said. You CC him, and that's the end of it. Zven does get traded back, so it's a 1-for-1 here with the AD carries. As Impact has made his way in towards Vulcan, the Nami has to try to flash to stay alive. Blaber swoops in for the protection, but Impact guarantees the kill. Now Thanatos wants to get involved yet again, but he has to dice right back over the Crystallize. Sentinels, they may have lost their AD carry at the very start, but they end up winning out on the fight overall. They get 2 kills back in response. They take the tier 1 turret. Now Blaber's got to be careful because Sentinels are not done. They keep the pressure on, pushing further towards the tier 2. Now finally the push gonna stop.
Yeah, Cassiopeia, they had APPA pushing on top side of the map, so no teleport available to him. He cannot join the fray down here. And it is Cloud9 saying, you know what, Rahel, we stopped your back. We've already burned your cleanse, so we're going to full send, and we will kill this carry. So maybe cathartic there for Zven to get the kill, but he immediately got just pushed into the tower by the Skarner, and it is a full send from Sentinels with the teleport coming through for Impact to make sure they can go for the extra kills in the dive. And honestly, with the position that they were in, this is worth as far as the investment of resources, because they also get
maybe, guys?
They also get the tower. But of course, the AD carries go down 1-for-1, and because you got killed, you got to go back and finish the Infinity Edge. Got to go back to base here.
Just a fast back. That's all. If your character dies, you're back in the shop faster than if you have to recall. That's just mathematics. C9 going for the push, potential dive here in the mid lane yet again, but it is tough to do with all of these Caitlyn traps. This defensive layer to try to stop the push of C9. Importantly, we've got less than 60 seconds until the next Drake spawns. It is a 2-to-1 Drake count now, favoring Sentinels, despite the fact that the early neutral objective control was all C9. It's pretty far evened out now with a 3-to-2 total count, still favoring C9. But if Sen can secure themselves sole point, that could potentially be a win condition going forward. The gold lead definitely, certainly still favors C9, but 2,000 is not something completely unmanageable here just yet. Unfortunately for Sentinels, though, their only individual gold lead is now huhi's Anivia. Rahel has fallen behind Zven in terms of that individual wallet. As Blaber and APPA, Cassiopeia does so much damage to neutral objectives. It is one of those things you've always got to be mindful of against her. Are they just going to try to 2-man sneak Baron? And Sentinels knows that could very well be happening right now.
Yeah, and they do that, and they know they have Nami to heal Blaber back up after they like DPS check on the Baron. During the whole time that they're doing that, guess what? Free tower for Thanatos in the bottom lane, and that is the big scary lane and gold lead for Cloud9. This split push Renekton, level 15 for Thanatos with his teleport, empowered by Royal Quest, of course.
And his Stride Breaker fully completed for that second item, so even more threat when he tries to stick onto that back line and dive towards the carries. C9 has total control over the bot side river now with that turret knocked down in bottom. Thanatos took earlier. It just means that they can rotate the rest of the squad over, easily grab this Drake, tie those up 2-2. Blaber's even thinking about, well, maybe we can do a little Gromp gaming off the back of it. No, okay, HamBak's gonna get to keep the Gromp here yet again. Still about a 2,500 gold lead for C9 though.
See about how they manage this setup, because you can you know, try and take advantage of this no teleport on Impact. Currently teleport advantage for Cloud9. After the full reset from Thanatos, they're sending him back to the bottom side, so they could again try and put pressure on your vision around the Baron. There are empowered plants this time around, since we got the Chemtech Rift, though. Yeah. And since those things spawn pretty frequently, it does make it a bit easier to check with vision, because you can use a lot of those big plants. And It makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of bait people and force people, but they're going to do it here. You know, Thanatos with his teleport. Impact actually just gets his back now too, so Impact can go back to base and try and catch the wave on bottom side tower. And Sentinels can go into a stalling pattern if they want here and try and get to their Lord Doms on Rahel. That would be quite nice. If you can get Rahel to his 3-item power spike, then, you know, they actually have a pretty good opportunity here. Ryze split pushing on top side too. Wait, is Impact going super aggressive here? No, just getting the wards, and they're buying time for the Ryze split push here, getting paid. Get DARKWINGS up to Actualizer there, and you can really start pumping.
It's so strong.
Especially because it's a, you know, fairly short range comp from Cloud9. Yeah, they have Corki rockets, but, you know, there are multiple melees here to bounce off of, and Ryze can definitely thrive in some of these situations.
Yeah, if the only thing on the enemy team is Corki that's out of range, you can seriously wreak some havoc on the rest of the health bars. Reminder on that left side of your screen right there, finals have been announced at the Mullet Arena in Arizona, June 13th and 14th. So you can go ahead and get your tickets for that one here soon. Hope to see you there. Road shows are always one of the funnest parts about the season at the LCS. As you can see, one of the other funnest parts, if you're a carry, is when your support buys Mikhail's. And that's exactly what Vulcan did, but it's not his team that needs it right now. Huhi gets caught out in the Sentinels jungle, so that's one free kill over to the C9 side. What else can they try to get from it? HamBak and Rahel can both retreat in time, and yeah, it looks like C9's looking towards the Baron pit.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many tools to bait with here. Okay, the Sejuani ult being down, though, means their turn is not as good, so you have to get, like, some surprise like this.
Yeah, immediately Thanatos. He uses the Empowered Ruthless Predator to break Impact's teleportation shield, so pretty much no value out of that one on the Zaahen. HamBak already chunked down to 35% HP.
They got it.
Yeah, I don't really see any way for HamBak to try to get close. There it is. Smite secured. Baron, 25 minutes into the game for C9.
Nicely done from Cloud9. The pick onto huhi here, really big. They just saw the angle. Blaber goes in. Take out the enemy support and immediately burn down Dragon with that Cassiopeia DPS.
So now what's the, how do you stall this out? How do you take a powerful defensive position here for Sentinels? Okay, avoid death. DARKWINGS will try to do just that, but the Glacial Prison is going to seriously hamper that ability. Miasma to cancel out the Realm, more Petrifying Gaze to follow it up, and APPA gets another payday. Golden Glue. So we just need the sad music. Get the Arms of the Angels in there. He's looking up at the ceiling. It's a rough game state right now for Sentinels. Down 4,000 gold. Impact will try to get something back down here in the bottom lane. Can at least secure the tier 2 for a little bit of an injection of gold. But they're going to need a lot more than that.
Yeah, can he get out is the question. Look at the mini-map here. 4 people headed down to Impact.
Yeah, Zven just flies over the wall. Impact is going to get the opportunity to res here. But you're rezzing right in the middle of everybody. So remember what I said earlier when huhi died in that exact same spot with his egg? And I was like, man, it really sucks when you res and then you just die again. Yeah.
True.
It's crazy that it's the exact same spot, though.
Is it like, do you feel like everybody around you is just welcoming you back to Earth? Or they're just happy to again send you off the Earth to your next death?
I feel like
hey, Impact, welcome back, buddy.
Welcome back.
All right,
sorry, but you got to get back out of here.
See ya. Back to the fountain, buddy. Sorry.
C9 are not done with just that kill, though. They want to keep this pressure on. They've still got their Red Bull Baron power play, which is up to plus 3,000 gold for another 60 seconds or so. So they'll put the pressure down there in bottom lane, grab the tier 2 there. The tier 2 in mid is still standing, but it's just got the smallest amount of HP. You can see the Baron and Power Cannon will be more than enough to shoot it down. They don't have to worry about making someone step too far forward, potentially get picked off by Skarner or by an Anivia stun. So now it's a 6,000 gold lead. Now it's nothing standing outside of the base for Sentinels. All tier 2 turrets destroyed. This next Drake will go over to the C9 side as well. And it's just, it's rough out there.
And this is a big if, Flowers, if Cloud9 continue on to win this game versus Sentinels, their record this year will now be 8-1 in game score and undefeated in all series.
8-1 in game score is crazy. Number one, because
we haven't played that many.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's kind of just surprising that they've played 9 games when we're only in week 2 of spring. But to have that overwhelming of a win rate against Sentinels, clearly whatever Sentinels are trying to draw up, whatever they're trying to draft up, these strategies they're crafting are just not working out thus far. And you can see now C9 moves into the enemy jungle. They know how far ahead they are. They're confident in their ability to take these open fights in neutral territory in the jungle. So they just want to make this map very dark and scary. Force Sentinels to stay trapped in the base.
Yeah, and Sentinels trying to do their best to get some gold income. DARKWINGS, they got their Ryze split pushing. You know, he has his actualizer. We've been hyping up, hoping that we can, you know, see some sort of pop-off moment with it. But the teleport down here, actually, they might trap that Ryze.
Yeah, he's really strong with his equalizer, and he can do a lot of damage if he's not dead. Now that's a big if at this point. As soon as Blaber swoops in, Thanatos already has so much damage, man. The Renekton with the Sterix completed now too. This guy is a total raid boss. This is a 7,000 gold lead. This is C9 with a 5v4 for the next 45 seconds. And the one that Sentinels is missing is the Ryze that you're thinking might be that X factor.
It's just going to come down to a one-team fight. Yeah.
It's going to come down to one team
all
fight.
All
good. I'm not going to lie, brother. Usually once it's 7,000 gold, I think you usually need at least 2. 7,000 gold's a lot of gold.
It's all good. One team fight. We're back on.
All right.
There.
All right. You're a believer.
All
okay.
good.
All right. I respect a positive mental attitude. PMA. All right. C9 pushing up multiple lanes now. APPA in the top side. Thanatos in the bottom. The remaining 3 just chilling here in mid. The classic 1-3-1. Normally you have Baron when you do these. That's the traditional 1-3-1, but
yeah, or
you
a
don't
lot
need
of money. Just if a lot of cash, you can do a lot of cash too.
A lot of money enables a lot of possibilities. And C9, the world is their oyster right now, although there is only 1 minute left on the clock until that next Baron spawns. We've already talked about how fast they kill it off, having a traditional high DPS marksman like Corki alongside an insanely high DPS mage like the Cassiopeia. So I expect them to do exactly what we're seeing them do right now. Take the recall, buy some control wards, buy whatever last little itty-bitty items you can complete, go back up to Baron and dare Sentinels to come do something about it.
I dare you.
I dog dare you.
Kind of scary, yeah, because Sejuani ult is just such a good turn. You know, like you can just bait at Baron, Sejuani ult into Nami ult, and that is just so difficult to avoid, even if you do have cleanse. So, thankfully for Sentinels, they all, you know, everybody's got their flashes up as well, so you have summoner spells, but it's going to be hard, and you might be burning through those pretty quickly. Also, blue trinkets. Wait a second.
Oh, Thanatos. Whenever anybody finds Thanatos in the jungle, you want to not be that guy. But a nice pick on Zven. That is exactly what Sentinels needed. They've killed off the enemy AD carry. They realm warp in to look for more, and more is exactly what they've got to find. Vulcan and Blaber continuing to try to escape here. The exhaust onto DARKWINGS to slow him down. Sentinels will not secure another kill, but they have control over the topside river, and they go after the Baron.
HamBak has had enough. He flash engages now on the Baron. Blaber gets walled.
Yeah, Blaber's stuck on the wrong side of the crystallize. The damage of the Sejuani is through. The shutdown over to Rahel. Sentinels take out the enemy jungler and head back to the Baron. It's 5v3. Impact and HamBak are hurt, but Sentinels just might still have a shot in this game. Baron, 32 minutes in.
So, okay, HamBak here, he's had enough of your shenanigans, Zven. You walk up and auto me, the Skarner, guess what? Get the Ian flash in there, right into the wall. Beautiful follow-up too. Had everybody close enough for the damage. He waited, he kind of turned around and baited him in, Flowers. Yeah, it's going closer. Oh, great. Hell yeah.
It's like, okay,
You're gonna come auto my Skarner? He did it. Hey, did it again.
Yep, he's really tempted fate here.
Well, he knows Skarner has no flash now.
Okay, bounce back over the wall, staying safe. Another miasma onto HamBak. This is the
ow.
He doesn't want to go back in there anymore. That's not where he wants to be. All right. Bubble there onto DARKWINGS, but now it's APPA that could be in a little bit of danger. Impact trying to put pressure onto the C9 mid laner. Grim Deliverance. He's taking him low, but he can't take him all the way out. Finally, they get in, and Rahel gets the shutdown. Vulcan still trying to escape, but C9 have already lost Zven yet again. Thanatos can't fight everybody here in a 1v5.
C9. Everybody's dead except for Blaber. The Realm Warp from Sentinels, they're going towards the mid lane. Are they just gonna try to send it straight down mid?
Yeah, they're gonna win, Flowers! What did huhi say? What did huhi say on comms right before? It only takes one team fight!
Holy moly, Sentinels! They were down 7,000 gold. It looked completely hopeless, and now they're trying to end the game. It's only Blaber standing between Sentinels and the Nexus itself. The Baron-empowered minion wave is already here. Blaber just wants to try to jump in, kill off the minions, waste enough time for the rest of the team to revive. Zven's up in 5, Vulcan's up in 2, Blaber's still cutting minions. Sentinels on the Nexus, ladies and gentlemen, it's a game 3!
Holy! huhi with the good comms, good vibes. That's why you don't do toxic comms when you're losing, Flowers.
All right.
Don't worry about it. It's only going to be one team fight. It actually was it was a pick and then a team fight after.